All right, let's dive right into it. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to unlock one of the absolutely most expressive and powerful tools in the entire Spanish language. If you've ever found yourself just kind of grasping for words because simply saying something is good or big just isn't cutting it, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we are mastering the superlatival degree in Spanish. Honestly, once you grasp these pretty simple structures, your ability to express yourself is going to expand immensely. Let's get started. So here's the big question that, every single language learner inevitably hits. How do you say something is the most or extremely something in Spanish? You already know how to describe a pretty house or a tall building, right? But what happens when you see a house that isn't just pretty, but breathtakingly beautiful? Or a building that isn't just tall, but literally the tallest in the entire city? We need a way to express those absolute maximums and extremes, and that is exactly what the superlative degree is built for.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, the absolute superlative. Next, the relative superlative. And finally, some real-world examples. The official terminology in Spanish is the grado superlativo. By definition, this is simply the degree of an adjective that expresses the absolutely highest or most extreme quality of something. Think of it like taking a regular adjective and just cranking the volume knob all the way up to 10, or honestly, even 11. It's the ultimate level of a description.
Section 1. The absolute superlative. When we're talking about the absolute superlative, we're basically expressing a crazy high degree of equality, but without comparing it to anything else. The source text gives us two perfectly equal ways to pull this off. You've got the formula you probably already use all the time, muy plus an adjective, like muy linda for very pretty, or muy gordo for very fat. But hey, if you really want to sound more native, you can just drop that word muy entirely. Instead, attach the suffix ísimo or ísima directly to the adjective. So muy linda magically becomes lindísima. Muy gordo becomes gordísimo. They literally mean the exact same thing. You just drop the final vowel of the adjective and slap on that suffix. Just, remember that the suffix still has to match the gender of the noun, so ending in an A for feminine and an O for masculine. Saying lindísima just sounds so much more native and expressive, doesn't it?
Section 2. The relative superlative. Now, this is what you're going to use when you aren't just shouting an extreme into the void, but you're specifically comparing one subject to a broader group. We've got the superlative of superiority and the superlative of inferiority. For superiority, the formula is super straightforward. It's the definite article el or la, meaning the, plus más, meaning most, plus your adjective plus the word de, meaning of or in. Literally, you're just saying the most whatever of a group. Now for inferiority, the structure is 100% identical, except we're just swapping out más for menos. So it becomes el or la plus menos, meaning least, plus the adjective plus de. Literally, the least whatever of a group. Honestly, if you can just remember that más means most and menos means least, you have completely mastered this formula.
Section 3. Real-world examples.
Let's actually analyze this first example of superiority. Juan es el más alegre de su grupo. Just listen to how naturally that flows and how perfectly it plugs right into our formula. We've got our subject, Juan, then our definite article el, because of course Juan is masculine, then más, followed by our adjective alegre, which means joyful or happy, and finally de su grupo. Put it all together, and boom, Juan is the most joyful of his group. We took Juan, compared him to his friends, and elevated his joyfulness to the absolute top.
Okay, now picture a group hanging out at a party, and there's that one person who's just, not really feeling the vibe, right? The text gives us this perfect example of inferiority for that exact situation. Jose is the menos entusiasta de su grupo. Following our formula, el, because Jose is masculine, menos, meaning least, entusiasta, meaning enthusiastic, and de su grupo. Jose is the least enthusiastic of his group. It's the exact same mathematical structure as our last example. We just swapped the maximum for the minimum. Easy, right?
And hey, this rule totally applies to geography too. Take a look at this one. Cuba es la isla más grande de las Antillas. Notice how the formula seamlessly adapts to gender here. Isla, meaning island, is a feminine noun, right? So naturally, we use the feminine article la. That gives us la plus más plus the adjective grande, meaning big, plus de. Cuba is the biggest island of the Antilles. It really is incredibly logical and consistent once you actually see the pattern playing out.
All right, let's bring the whole shebang home. These are the 3 golden rules you are walking away with today. First up, the absolute superlative. When you want to say something is extremely something, you just use muy plus the adjective, or for that truly authentic native flair,
scratch that MUY and just add the suffix ísimo or ísima. Second, relative superiority. When someone or something is the most out of a group, just use el or la plus más plus the adjective plus they. And finally, third, relative inferiority. When someone or something is the least out of a group, you just swap in menos, el or la plus menos plus the adjective plus they. If you can just keep these 3 golden rules in your back pocket, you are honestly never going to struggle to express extremes in Spanish ever again for sure.
So here's a little provocative thought to leave you with today. Who is the absolute most interesting person in your family? I challenge you to use the exact formulas we just learned today to answer that question in Spanish down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment. It seriously helps us keep bringing you these deep dive explainers. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one.